We will start off with the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Clerk will call the roll.
Star.
Aye.
Lumley.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knight.
Aye.
Next up, we're going to have the approval of the minutes of the March 3rd and the March 12th meetings. Any questions or comments on those minutes?
So moved to approve.
Second.
Any further comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Lumley.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knight.
Aye.
Star.
Next up, then we have the consideration of approval of the consent calendar. Does anybody have any questions on the consent calendar?
I was just wondering if the one page being in there upside down was a test to see if anybody noticed. or-
Was there really one of them upside down in the financials? Are you kidding me? Good Lord. Yeah.
I'll leave it
guess-
here and I can show it to you.
I'm just gonna say, yes, it was a test.
I hope I passed.
You did.
Go ahead.
Good job. You get an A for the
One
day.
star for delaying.
Yep, it's an A.
I would.
Part of the scanning process. I'll
There's
just say that.
It's, you know.
I would
Yeah.
move to approve even with
Second.
the upside down page.
Did you stand on your head to look at it, then delay?
No, I had years of reading documents upside down. Didn't slow me down.
Any further comments? Clerk will call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knight.
Aye.
Star.
Aye.
Lumley.
Aye.
All right, we have a couple proclamations tonight under business of the mayor. One for sexual assault awareness, one for child abuse prevention. Who gets to speak tonight? Want to come up here to the table and introduce yourself and tell us about your, are you gonna do both of them?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Amber's been going to, yeah, she's here, for sexual assault for crisis intervention, and I'm here on behalf of the council, so, for child abuse prevention.
Just
you want us to
introduce
speak?
yourselves and tell us what you got.
Want us to speak first? Okay. So I'm Renee Harris. I work with crisis intervention as well as a domestic abuse advocate, but tonight I'm here, on behalf of the Child Abuse Prevention Council, the Floyd and Mitchell Child Abuse Prevention Council. I am the vice president. April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. So we have the Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation to bring awareness about April being Child Abuse Prevention Month. We have a few different things going on in April. We're for April, we submitted an application to have the water tower lit blue from the 1st to the 4th of April. The 4th is Wear Blue Day, so if you'd like to participate, bring awareness, wear blue on the 4th. If you'd like to look up any other things about preventing child abuse or any information, Prevent Child Abuse Iowa is a very good website to find information. That's how I got this proclamation. And that's how we get our information to the council. I did pull up some stats off of the Health and Human Services website, just about Floyd County. And there was 19 confirmed cases, which means not on the registry, within Floyd County of child abuse. 69 of those were founded cases. To break that down into types of abuse, that was 138 denial of critical care cases, 9 dangerous substances, 12 physical abuse, 10 presence of illegal drugs in children's systems, 2 sexual abuse, and 1 that allowed access to obscene materials. And that was for fiscal cycle 2023. It's kind of alarming to see. So I think that's one of the reasons that we come out and we do these things, is to bring awareness and talk about the work and have conversations.
And I'm Amber Hicks. I am a sexual assault advocate with Crisis Intervention Service. April is also Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We do a few things for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I partner with J.C. Peichel, a Sensi consultant, and we do a fundraiser through there and get buddy clips and buddies for child survivors of assault. It really helps, especially when they're going through the court process and they're afraid. we tell them it gives them, you know, they have bravery and they really like that. They like to name them and, I usually set like 4 of them out and they get to pick them and, those go over really well with the kiddos. We also do cell phones for survivors, so, we take donations of used cell phones and chargers. So if anybody has any of those laying around, I would gladly take those off of your hands, cause, people use those for contacting emergency services as well as, they can go to a library and use the Wi-Fi or anywhere that has Wi-Fi and, you know, apply for jobs or do whatever. They can even use, certain apps to text people, like, yeah, like Text Now or any of those apps, for safety reasons, cause, a lot of folks can't afford a phone that has texting on it. We also submitted an application to light up the water tower at the end of April. Denim Day is April 30th, so if you'd like to show support, wear denim on the 30th. So 49 survivors in Charles City sought help with crisis intervention service, that experienced sexual violence, this past year alone. So.
Thank you.
So, yep, thank you.
Any questions?
And do these one at a time, or
I think we could probably do them both since they're similar.
I
Yeah.
would move to approve both proclamations.
Second.
Any other questions, from anybody?
Where's the location to go to make the donations for the cell phones and those items?
You can contact me because I'm not always in Charles City. I have an office in Osage and one in Charles City, but, my cell phone number is 641-832-8456. And so if you reach out, I'll meet up with you and, you know, when it works for both of us. Or figure out a place to meet.
All right. Any other comments, questions?
Thank you for everything that you guys do for the community. I think this is, you know, one of those things that people forget about or don't want to think about happening, but it's important that there are services there. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll call the roll.
Pittman,
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Star.
Aye.
Lumley,
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
So I will read the proclamations and I will present them to you guys and, we'll go from there. We'll start with the, sexual assault awareness for the month of April. So whereas the home should be a place of warmth, unconditional love, tranquility, and security. For most of us, home and family can indeed be counted among our greatest blessings. Tragically, for many community members, these blessings are tarnished by violence and fear. And whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread, and 49 survivors sought victim services that were residents of Charles City who experienced sexual violence last year. And whereas rape, sexual assault, and sexual harassment impact our community, and statistics show 1 in 5 women and 1 in 71 men will be raped at some point in their lives. And whereas child sexual abuse prevention must be a priority to confront the reality that 1 in 6 boys and 1 in 4 girls will experience a sexual assault before the age 18. And whereas we must work together to educate our community about sexual violence prevention, supporting survivors, and speaking out against harmful attitudes and actions. And whereas the crime of sexual abuse violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, and humanity due to the systemic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control or abuse. And whereas sexually violent acts against children ages 0 to 14 cost the nation over $71 billion annually, and in adolescents ages 12 to 24, $45 billion annually, medical expenses, law enforcement and court costs, shelters and foster care, sick leave, absenteeism, and reduced worker productivity. And whereas only a coordinated community effort will bring an end to this epidemic of crime and violence, and we, as a community, must address the problem of sexual violence in our homes and neighborhoods every day of the year. And whereas a coalition of organizations has emerged to directly confront this crisis, law enforcement officials, victim service programs, healthcare providers, the faith community, and other concerned citizens are helping in the effort to end sexual violence. We must recognize the compassion and dedication of these volunteers and professionals and applaud their efforts and increase public understanding and importance of this social problem. Now, therefore, I, Dean Andrews, Mayor of Charles City, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month and urge all citizens of Charles City to observe this month by becoming aware of the tragedy of sexual assault, supporting those who are working toward its end, and participating in community efforts. I do thereby proclaim April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. That's dated today, and I will sign that proclamation. And then our other proclamation for Child Abuse Prevention Month. Whereas prevention is possible with the right policies and investments, families and children can thrive and avoid contact with child welfare and other costly systems. And whereas the early experiences of a child impact them throughout life, both positively and negatively. And whereas every family and child is filled with tremendous promise, and we all have a collective responsibility to prevent adverse childhood experiences, foster the potential of every child, and promote positive childhood experiences. And whereas positive childhood experiences, such as loving caregivers and safe, stable, and nurturing relationships, play a vital role in helping children thrive by mitigating trauma and the negative impact of adverse childhood experiences. And whereas families who receive the support they need before a crisis occurs are better equipped to provide safe, healthy, and nurturing environments, leading to children who are safer, healthier, and more hopeful about their future. And whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects throughout an individual's lifetime and impact future generations. And whereas primary prevention of child abuse and neglect can reduce the lifetime economic burden associated with child maltreatment. And whereas strengthening families through access to concrete, economic, social, and community-based supports reduces the likelihood of abuse and neglect and ensures children have the foundation for lifelong well-being. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promoting the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas investments in prevention initiatives, such as home visiting programs, family strengthening policies, economic supports, and community-based child abuse prevention efforts are essential to building safer, healthier communities for children and families. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families. Now, therefore, I, Dean Andrews, Mayor of Charles City, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Charles City, and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. Together, we can create a state where every child can grow up healthy, happy, and safe with hope for their future. And that again is dated the 17th day of March, 2025. So, as I said before, it's too bad we have to have you guys come visit us as often as you do, but you're doing great work in our community and we commend you for doing that. we just hope we could eliminate the problems, but I know you're working towards that end, but it's an ongoing process for sure. So thank you for all that you're doing to help us beat these problems.
Didn't talk about that, but yeah, we do partner with Carrie Lane. The students at Carrie Lane, they keep our Blue Men and house our Blue Men. But yeah, I don't know if you've seen it in the past years at Central Park, there's usually these like blue cutout men that have like a plastic placard of like information on them about child abuse, so those will be up in Central Park too. There might be some lights up in the courthouse windows as well. Gloria Carr was at our last child abuse prevention meeting and talked about how they should still have those roaming around the courthouse. So I've worked with her to hopefully get those set up too this year, if we can make that work. So, yeah.
Wear blue days, it was April 3rd,
No, fourth.
4th.
Yeah, April 4th. I just checked the date on everything.
All right, well, thank you guys for being here.
Oh, can we get a photo with you?
Sure.
Okay. Stop that quick.
Have our expert photographer take a picture. We're gonna take that as well.
Thank you so
All right,
much.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You mentioned it.
All right. Next on the agenda then is resolution 2125, and this is approving the parking lot lease for Tyson's for their garden center for this year. Steve?
Yep, so this is something we see every year about this time, and historically, we've had Hy-Vee and Tyson's, but I think the last couple of years, Hy-Vee has just been using their front part of their building, so don't know if we'll see one from Hy-Vee this year, but tonight we're looking at the request from Tyson's to utilize a portion of the parking lot out in front of the store there, which is a city parking lot. And it's about a 32-foot wide, about 110-foot long area. We charge about 62 cents a square foot. So that equates to $250 per month in rent. And they're looking to lease the area from April 14th and have everything closed up and cleaned up by July 1st.
This is pretty much the same size they had last year.
I believe so.
It is, yeah, that's why we came to a regular meeting, because there were no changes, so.
Everything was all right, wasn't it?
As far as I
I
know,
don't recall hearing anything about any issues.
I don't recall either, I think it went good.
Only issues I've ever recalled is that, just we get it cleaned up and out of there in time for the 4th of July, and that's always been something that, and they've been very good about having that done and out of there, so it's worked well.
That being the case, I would move to approve.
I would say.
Any further comments? Call the roll.
Knighton,
Aye.
Star,
Aye.
Lumley,
All right.
Friesman,
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
All right, next then is resolution 2225, and this is approving an agreement for services with crisis intervention. You gonna take this one also?
Yeah, yep. So, as you know, with any entities that we want to offer city funds to, we have to enter into a specific agreement with them to document that. And each of the last couple of years, we've allocated $2,000 to go towards crisis intervention. And so what we have here is an agreement that Brad put together here a year or two ago that we've just updated that would cover that $2,000 donation for fiscal year 25, the current year we're in. What approves this current year's payment. So we're also budgeting for fiscal year 26 for next year as well. But this is for allocating the funds for this year.
This is not the what, 4th year we've done this?
At least.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
well, as far as this agreement goes, it might be the third.
It's the third year, I think, for the agreement.
So we've-
Thing.
We funded them at some
Yeah,
amount.
longer, you're right, longer time than
Many
that.
years.
This change.
mean, I think we just heard excellent reasons why, this funding is necessary. They are working with our community members who are experiencing something extremely difficult and at a vulnerable point in their lives. And, I think it's a necessity, that we have these services here. So I would move to approve.
And second, I'd also tag onto that, I believe our police department, so
Yes.
they've had a lot of
They,
interaction.
yeah,
Highly,
they really work
Recommend
hand
this.
in hand.
Any other comments? Call the roll.
Star.
Aye.
Lumley.
Aye.
Friesman.
aye,
Pittman.
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Next up, we have resolution 2325. This is setting a date for the public hearing and additional action on a proposal to enter into a general obligation corporate purpose loan agreement and borrow there under a principal amount not to exceed $195,000. Steve.
Yep, so this is part of the final budgeting process that we do each year. This is what sets up the short-term borrowing piece, which is what we do for, we do one small loan to cover various expenses. Most of those are public safety expenses, uniforms, equipment, materials, police car, this year specifically fire engine repair, nuisance abatement, all those things. We kind of put those into one borrowing amount and then issue a short-term borrow to cover that expense. And so to do that, we need to set a public hearing. And so we've set that public hearing, or we will look to set that public hearing tonight for April 7th at 6 o'clock to officially hold a public hearing on that short-term borrow and look to incorporate that into the full budget for fiscal year 26.
Comments?
this is kind of an annual process we've gone through for as long as I can remember. It's always served us well. I'd move to approve.
Second.
Any other comments? We'll call the roll.
Lumley.
Aye.
Friesman.
Aye.
Pittman.
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Star.
We will hold that public hearing discussing that proposal on April 7th. Next is resolution 2425. This is approving the Omnitel quote for service to the water plant. Steve.
Yeah, so we touched on this at our workshop last Wednesday, and we're having internet issues at the water plant. We just don't have the capacity through the current provider to provide adequate internet for the facility. And the more and more we utilize, cloud-based services and remote access are times that we just need a better option when it comes to internet. This is nothing new that we've brought up as a community as a whole, that we've talked about over the years, but this is something where it's really hitting home for us. And so to that end, we reached out to Omnitel, who was doing some build out in town, and we got a quote from them to extend fiber services off North Grand, where they currently have a trunk line, if you will, extend that to the water plant area and to get a quote for that operation. And then as a additional, piece of that is, would they be able to build out in the adjacent neighborhood area, maybe to provide residential service? So it's kind of a two-part thing. We're looking to solve a problem that the city has directly, but from that, we might be able to see some additional fiber build out, which is fantastic. So we got some quotes from them to do that. And there was various amounts and speeds based on, either upfront cost or stretching out over time. Basically, the option that included the $15,000 upfront fee to install it, and then just paying the regular monthly rate of $150 a month. And it's the most cost-effective solution. It averages out to about $400 a month over the course of those 5 years. And then after that, we just be basically paying, we'll be paying $150 right from the get-go. So we'll just have that upfront cost to help facilitate that process. So we had some representatives from Omnitel here on Wednesday night, and they spoke about we kind of worked. I gave them a name of a local person up there. They got in contact with them, and it sounds like they're working on plans to really start a grassroots effort to help build out fiber in that neighborhood. So we can see more and more things like that, we might be able to see fiber grow out throughout the town more and more, because they basically need about 70% of the neighborhood to say, yes, we'll take the fiber product to make it be worthwhile to build out. So that's kind of the two-pronged goal we're trying to achieve here, solve our own city-specific problem, but then also hopefully facilitate some fiber growth in the community. So we would recommend moving forward with the option for the $15,000 install, and then the 750 megabyte up and down for $150 a month going forward.
Questions?
With that fee, Steve, that line would be owned though by Omnitel, right?
Yes.
We don't own it, we're just paying to have them install it.
That is correct. We'll get it, they'll get it to our front door and install it,
Right,
but they gotta go through the neighborhood to get to us.
right, but I just mean it's, they'll only,
That's correct.
we're not buying line, we're just paying for the installation. I would move to approve.
Second.
Any other comments? We'll call the roll.
Friesman.
Aye.
Hickman.
Aye.
Knighton.
Aye.
Star. Lovely.
Aye.
Right. Anybody received any miscellaneous correspondence?
I haven't, Steve, have you?
I have not.
Brad, anything else to report for you tonight? Trudy, what do you have for us?
Our next meeting is going to be March 26th at 5:30. That'll be a planning session. And just a reminder that on April 7th, we will be having two different meetings. We have to have our first meeting for the public hearing on the consolidated general fund levies. And that is a meeting where that's the only thing that can be on the agenda. So we'll have that meeting, leave it open for a little bit, close it, and then we'll immediately convene our normal regular meeting, which will have everything else on it then, so. Part of the stuff the state has mandated, so. And happy St. Patrick's Day, that's all I have to say, so.
Steve, the administrator's report.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that, the county did send out the budget year's, statement to owners and taxpayers, so everybody should have received this. It's not exactly clear, easy to understand necessarily, so I guess I just wanted to comment on that a little bit, so if anybody reaches out to ask you about any of these details, obviously feel free to inform them to myself or Trudy. But when you look down at what it talks about the proposed city tax rate or the amount, they have the levy rate in there, which ours is going down a little bit. Collections are going up based on a valuation increase, but the proposed tax collection is the number based without gas and electric replacement. So there's those two columns, if you recall. So this is the lesser of those two numbers that they put in there. That's one part. The second part, they talk about hypotheticals, and for whatever reason, the state chose to put in here that, to give you an idea. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to explain what happens to your taxes, that you pay from one year to the next, if your valuation goes up, or a combination of that and the levy rate goes up. Basically, the example they give is a home going from 100,000 to 110,000. That's not happening here. I mean, necessarily, it's all across the board, but basically the numbers that they put in you are the fiscal year 25 levy and rollback numbers compared to the fiscal year 26 levy and rollback numbers, assuming a 10% increase. So it's trying to give you an idea of what that change equates to, but it's kind of hard. It took me a while to work back to figure out what that meant. And then they do the same thing for the commercial side, where it's $300,000. Of course, 150,000 of that is residential rollback, the other 150 is the 9% rollback. So there's a lot of moving parts, but that's what they're effectively trying to do. It doesn't reflect what's happening in Floyd County necessarily, but it just gives you a hypothetical. So it's not exactly clear, and we work in this all the time, and it took us a long time to kind of figure out what they're trying to say there. So it's a little bit confusing. Also mentioned, so our city clerk interviews start this week. So Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we'll be conducting those initial interviews. Wednesday, we have our weekly update meeting, bi-weekly update meeting in the City Hall ED renovation project. That's getting moved because of the impending storm. So we're gonna do that on Thursday instead. And, because of that same reason, I know the Floyd County Medical Center is moving up their beam signing to tomorrow from 3 to 5. So if you're interested in doing that, it's 3 to 5 tomorrow and not Wednesday. Other than that, that's all I have.
You? Anybody have any board or commission or committee reports for us tonight? Seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Okay.
And that's gotta be.